Good morning, my name is Jennifer and today I'm going to make a blue cheese. Cambozola is a mixture of Camembert and Gorgonzola cheese. So it is a creamy white cheese made by making a soft curd, sprinkling Penicillium roqueforti on the curds in layers. I am following the recipe from Give Cheese a Chance, Mary Ann's recipe. Hopefully mine will turn out like hers. Things I'm doing differently, I'm not using calcium chloride because I'm using raw milk. I'm making it a 3-gallon cheese instead of a 2-gallon cheese, using clabber culture in place of mesophyllite culture. I know the trick to getting all the cream out of these jars. You dump out, like all the cream's coming out, but see how the top still has a lot of cream on it? So you stop partway through and you shake it. 3 gallons plus cream. I'm supposed to add even more cream, but I'm not going to because I don't have it. You know, there's this belief that you cannot do sourdough when you're making cheese because the yeast will contaminate the milk. But the yeast that's in natural starter is not the yeast that contaminates milk. It's the yeast from like powdered yeast. I guess there's a little percent chance that it could happen, and everybody's always super, super careful about this. But then I know other cheesemakers who put it side by side. They just like what I'm doing, and it's just not an issue. I actually let my bread proof in my cheesecake. I want to show it to you so you see what I mean. All the cheeses in this cheese cave are totally wrapped. But down here at the bottom, I have my bread. It's covered with the shower caps, but it's loose. So the smells and stuff are still getting into the fridge. Heating it up to 86 degrees. Listen, I have got to be filming.
Well, I'm not done.
Okay, tell your story.
No, excuse me.
I am culturing this cheese with clabber. Stop laughing at me. I set up extra clabber yesterday for this cheese, so I would have enough. But I set it up in the evening, and so it is not completely set. I mean, it's kind of there, but it's still loose. So I'm going to be using these from the 2 days previous, these little jars that I have, and I need 1/4 cup per gallon, so I need 3/4 cup. It smells good, and people say you can use clabber that's been in the fridge for a couple days, so I guess we're going to find out. Gonna take some milk from the pot. I'm gonna thin it just so it gets all mixed in well. And that's gonna culture for 1 hour. If you want to see more about how to make clabber, I have a whole video on how I get clabber going from when milk is still in the cow to when it sets up as clabber and how to use it for cheese making. So you can click on that link and find out all about clabber. I've already done a Cambozola a number of weeks back, but my day got all screwy and I wasn't able to follow the proper timeline. I kept going because that's what you do with cheese. You always keep going because you never know what's gonna happen. This isn't right. It's not a Cambozola, but it's hella good, hella good, hella good. But the Cambozola I'm doing today is supposed to turn out perfectly because I'm doing everything right. It's time to do the rennet. I'm gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm not sure if that's exactly right. I think you could use a little more, a little less. I'm going with a little less because it's raw milk and it's a soft cheese. I'll maybe do a smidge more. Dilute with a little bit of water. Can you see how it's getting a little slow as it goes? See those little whirls that kind of hold themselves right there. Let this sit for about 90 minutes until there's a clean break. It is looking really firm. So yeah, it's totally firm. So I'm going to cut it into 3/4 inch cubes. And now this is supposed to rest for 5 minutes just to heal. Okay, I'm filming on Nicholas. Good shush. Now it's supposed to be stirred for 15, and it's supposed to be stirred very slowly. From what I've seen people do, they kind of do it just barely moving. I have gotten some comments from people saying that they are very disturbed that I put my arm in the cheese pot. Let me explain this. This arm right here, I have washed the whole thing with soap. Often I spray it down with vinegar. I did not do that this time. My hands are touching a whole bunch of other dirt way more frequently. So if anything is potentially dirty, it's my hands. So maybe they're saying I shouldn't even touch the cheese with my hand, but that's ridiculous. I do all kinds of stuff with my hands. That's what my hands are for, to use. This arm is actually really clean. And so, you know, it's fine. Fact is, we have never had a bad cheese, and we eat all our cheeses and they're delicious. And I feed my family for years and years, my whole life, and I do not make them sick. Our bodies can handle a lot more than we think they can, and the things that we're grossed out by are often not worth being grossed out by and not scientifically proven as reasons to be grossed out by them. And the actual bacteria on our body and on the cow are beneficial to the milk. And when we take away all the bacteria, we're taking away a lot of good bacteria that can actually help counter the bad ones. So I stir with my arm. The other reason I stir with my arm, I can feel the cheese and I'm much more in tune with it. I can feel if it's sticking anywhere, I can find the big lumpies, and I can handle them better. So what I'm doing, I'm scraping across the bottom like that, so I'm kind of lifting it, peeling it up as I come around. It's broken down considerably. There's still some bigger chunks in there that I just keep popping open. This is all off heat. It was only to 86 degrees, and then it stayed at that. Now, see how well I can get this without it taking curds. Oh, the curds pop right up. This is not going to go well. We are just going to have to scoop directly into the colanders. It says to divide it between 2 colanders and let the curds drain for 20 minutes. And there we go. And now I'm supposed to take these curds and stack them up into here. I got this tray from our thrift store, and it's perfect for setting this on top, and it has an overflow. And I just set it inside this tray, and it should be good to go. What I'm gonna be doing is putting in a layer of curds, then I sprinkle on the Penicillium Roquefort 40, another layer of curds, Penicillium Roquefort 40, another layer of curds, and that's it. You make so much noise. So that'll give a good base, I think. We gotta dig in the penicillium, sprinkling it over, like putting pepper on the cheese. I'll continue on. Another pinch. And now more Penicillium Roquefort 40. This might be actually 4 layers. This is crazy. Yeah, I'm going to do 4 layers. And some more. And now the last layer. This will be the top and it will cover it all up nice and smoothly. Oh, it smells so good. I haven't tasted this yet. It's delicious. Very nice and sweet and buttery. All right, I have a little piece of cheese here. I'm gonna put this in my ramen. This is supposed to be flipped 5 times in the next 12 hours. It is almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, so I will flip it several times before bed and then in the morning again. This just got set here. I'm gonna set it over on the counter and be flipping this as we go along through the day. Time for my coffee and my cookie. I am stressing about this cheese because I think it's going to be really fat. That means the inside is going to be more pasty and it's not going to soften at the right speed. There's whey coming out, but it is still really tall. If it was the right size, it would go down to here, and I don't think it's going to drop that far. What I really need is 2 of these molds. Oh, but the bread is almost out of the oven. I'll show you in a second. Here's the bread that I was making today. It's rising and getting great now. It's cookies. And then I have the bread that was down in the cheese cave is now almost done baking. And this bread is just bread flour and water and starter and salt. Oh, it's hot. No fat, no sugar. It's delicious. This is going to get flipped and left to sit on this mat. The weight of the cheese pushes this up, kind of slides up, so I'm going to put something heavy on here. How about a jar of oil? Much less whey. Keeping this on firm and flip. Oh, it's coming together nice. It's still too high, but we're just gonna, I guess, have a cheese that's too high. I flipped ones last night, but the guy holding the camera right now wasn't filming. So not much more whey. Come look. It's getting smooth. It's not tall, so it doesn't actually feel too bad. We're gonna take it out now and salt it. So flipping it, boop. And now it should hold its shape. Look at that. There's the Cambozola. We need to weigh this and then we'll know how much salt to put on it. For a 3-gallon plus a little bit of cream cheese, that's pretty darn fantastic. Now let's do the math for the salt. So the weight of the cheese times 0.025 is the amount of salt that I'm going to use. So 2473 grams times 0.025 equals 62 grams of salt. That's what I need to use. This is the percentage, 2% salt. But you put a little bit more because it's going to get on your hands and it's going to get like fall off the cheese. So you always want a little bit more. And I actually probably cheat and do like 65 or so. Holy cow. 61. 63. Just half of the salt goes on top. Rub it all around. Just coming down on the side a little bit. And then you do the other half right here. When I flip it again, I'll probably put a little bit more salt on the other side just to refresh it because I've lost a good bit. Now that I salted both sides of the cheese, it's supposed to air dry for a few hours just to let the salt absorb in, draw out some moisture, and dry off the rind a little bit. Now I'm going to flip this and see how wet it is there. It was dissolving and dripping down. I'm going to put some more salt on top just because of all the salt that was lost. Get a little bit more around the sides. I'm going to let that go. I have this lid that's upside down. I'm gonna put it on this mat. There's still salt on it. I'm gonna let that go. And this is gonna go over it like that. There's air that can still get in. It's still flowing through there. And I'm gonna put it in the cool room. And this window is open, just a little bit of cracked. It is cool in here, maybe 55 or so. And I turned a fan on low to keep the air going, and we will just close this door and come back and check on this tomorrow. The only thing I need to do is pierce the cheese to get oxygen in so that that blue mold can grow. I do not have a knitting needle. Everybody says to use a knitting needle. I am going to use, though, my trusty skewer. I think it should work. It's worked before. It's been fine. Make sure it's totally clean. Just spray it. Wipe that down. There's still some salt on top, but it's feeling fairly dry. I'm going to flip it right now so I don't forget. It feels hard, very cold. What you're supposed to do is just take this needle, this skewer, and I'm going to just pierce it through as far as I can, but not through to the other side. Go in. When I go in, I'm going to give it a little twist, just a little smidge. Because this is narrow and skinny, I want a little bit more space. You want the oxygen to have a chance to get into the cheese and start activating the blue before I seal it up with the white mold and close off that oxygen. Ooh, it came out the other side. Oops. Doesn't really matter. It's creamy soft. It looks like it's crumbly, but it's actually creamy and tangy. That tastes good. Ooh, I pierced the top. Don't look. All right, I think I'm going all the way around. I'm gonna put this back into the cool room and let it go till tomorrow. Today, we are going to make a solution with Penicillium candidum, geotrichum, whatever they're called. It's 1/16 of a teaspoon of each of these for 2 gallons of milk. I have 3 gallons of milk, so it's 1/16 and 1/32, 1/16 and 1/32. So 1.5 of one, you get it. There's still all the holes all around it, and I'm happy. I hope that was enough to make the Penicillium roqueforti activate. This one is the Geotrichum candidum. This is a 1/4 teaspoon, so 1/16. Sprinkle that on top. I'm gonna put a little bit more. This is the Penicillium candidum, and this is a 1/4 teaspoon, so I'm doing the same amounts. About 1/4 plus 1/8. There we go. I'm gonna let this sit in these molds. And now I'm going to splat this with this rag all over the cheese. Make sure it's all good and covered. And then this is going to go face down back into my cool bedroom. This is going to spend about 2 weeks until 90% of it is covered in white mold. Looking good. There's no way there. So I'm probably not going to show you much more of this until I start seeing mold, but this is what I do every day. I'm just going to flip it. So I just flipped the brie. I did not wash my hands. It's the same molds on the outside. I just didn't want to get the blue from the Cambozola onto the brie, so I go that direction. There's just a faint film of fuzz. Hardly anything though. The sides feel slightly fuzzy. I don't see blue. It smells fine. Back in the cool room. It's getting its mold. Oh, it doesn't smell that lovely. It's so pretty. Soft, purdy mold. See, it kind of sticks a little bit, so I'm doing it slowly. Well, I was doing it slowly. Come on. Don't want to tear the rind. I'll wipe out some of this moisture. It smells a little funky, but I'm not too concerned. I think it's good. Getting mold around the edges. I can see a little bit of blue there. Feels very firm. It always gets a little stuck here. I don't like that, but arg. A little bit patchy around the edges. I don't know if that's because I didn't put it on good enough or if it just naturally is harder to grow mold there. Tug this off. Come on. Smells mushroomy. It's feeling plush. See, it's soft. Press. And there's the finger indentation. It's super cute. Like velveteen, satiny, plushy toy type feeling. This always sticks on here. Come on. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's a couple spots that aren't completely covered. So you can see like right around that edge, there's a little bit poking through, but this is pretty good coverage and I'm gonna say it's good enough. Yeah, that's like really good. And at this point, I could tamp it down, the mold, and you just kind of keep it going if you don't want to wrap it. But I want to wrap it because I don't want to keep touching it and dealing with it. I'm going to wrap it in this 2-ply paper. I got really big stuff from New England Cheese Making Supply. It's shiny on one side and doll colored on the other, and you put the doll side towards the cheese. There's 2 little pieces right like that, so it's kind of attached together. It allows you to pull the moisture out of the cheese. It allows a little bit of airflow. It allows the mold development without depriving it of all the oxygen. I just pull this up and like lay it down, and then I keep pulling, kind of like do this very ungracefully because I'm not good at it, but that's okay. Just kind of scrunch it up and around as I go, like you're making a twisty flower thing. I'm going to tape it to seal it. It's going to go down in at 50 degrees and I will just be flipping it. Plum, plum, plum. It's time to turn the Cambozola. It has been in the 55-degree freezer that has turned into a fridge and I've been flipping it. It says it's supposed to be ready right now. It's getting soft. When I squish, there's an indentation and a push in. But it's not squishy. It's feeling a little bit soft on the edges, but not gooey or anything. So we're going to cut into this and see how it is. Ooh, it got brown. What is that? Oh no. Wait, is that paper? That's paper. It smells really good. The white mold looks good. That looks really good on that side. Was that because of the masking tape? Did something have to do with that? Yeah, there's definitely some splooshiness. See how it goes up there? I'm pushing there. Guess I'm just gonna cut into it. Here we go. See, that is paper. That is coming up. Well, there you go. There's not a ton of blue. Soft there, firmer on the inside. There's blue. Not much. Is it splishy? I don't get any blue flavor. It's not too salty. It's actually quite mild flavored. Well, shoot! That's not what I'm looking for. And I think I followed that recipe pretty closely. It's like gray mold, like it didn't do its thing. Nope, a very mild hint of blue, but it did not have the right amount of oxygen. Right here, it's like brownish gray, and right here, it's more like blue. So to me, that is like where the mold spores were, but they didn't get oxygen, and so they just made this discoloration. It's still a good cheese. I mean, it tastes really good. Not too impressed with this one. It's not bad by any stretch, but I was wanting more blue. I don't mean to sound too whiny. Well, yeah, I do. I'm kind of whiny. I'm also hungry. It's a nice creamy cheese.